We really need to cut most of that.
We'll see what happens.
2, 1, 0, ignition. Liftoff.
Welcome now to the Crank Revolution podcast, your source for cycling shenanigans. Listen now to our hosts, the purveyors of pedals, as we teach you more about cycling every single episode. So sit right back, pop a cold one, and enjoy our show. And we are now back for another episode of the Crank Revolution podcast. First of all, thanks everyone who's been reviewing us on iTunes and kind of reaching out and sending us feedback. It's been amazing.
It's been great, yeah.
And if you're not on iTunes for your podcast, go to iTunes anyway and give us a review because that's where everybody gets their ratings from, really.
The thing that I really love is now we're only a few episodes in, and yet we've been getting great feedback, not only through reviews, but also people have been sending us ideas to crankrevolutioncycling at Gmail. If there's something you guys want to learn about, you got these guys here, these crazy idiots, to sit there and talk to you about it. So if there's something you are like, wow, I wish they would talk about it, well, send your email.
I got stopped by a guy at the grocery store asking me about butter. It wasn't chamois butter, but just asking me about butter. He thought I just knew a lot about it.
Spices?
And I was just like,
Wait,
all right,
I know
cool.
that voice. You know about butter.
It was amazing. I was like, wow, you recognize my voice despite the fact that all of that is post-processed.
And yet every time you see something, you always like giggle like a schoolgirl, like, oh!
I actually sound like this in real life.
So I don't know how anyone could ever recognize you in a podcast. But guys, it's been so amazing to hear from you. Please send us those emails to crankrevolutioncycling at Gmail. Also, if you want to support this crazy crap, go to Patreon. Why? Because you know what? It helps us make shows like this for you. So send us some ideas. So first thing we're going to do, though, is go to our non-sponsor sponsor.
Jeremy.
Oh, Greg.
I am so glad I was able to find you. That crowd is huge up there. And this is your first crit race, right?
I know.
You crash so easily, man. Are you going to be okay out there?
Yes. You know what, Greg? Last weekend I went to the Ren Fair, and I have an idea.
Oh, no.
Greg, this is the finest protection you could have in the 11th century.
Jeremy, it's the 21st century, and there's road rash out there and concrete, not knives and spears and arrows.
You can't road rash in chainmail. When lords and ladies are watching, don't go down and let your ass be a dragon. Procure Gentry's two-wheeled witchy wagon protection cloth. At some point, some real sponsor might actually jump in and help the show. But in the meantime, we were having way too much fun. So I promise you, our weird comedy hijinks will not go away. Yep. But we realized we need to have more fun while doing this show. So while we bring you
It's
new
Friday
cycling
night.
things,
I need to drink. Just pour the damn beer already.
No, so we need, we're not going to share amazing cycling info. We want to start introducing just an amazing beer of the week. And we don't know if this is amazing or not, but today, the beer we're all about to drink for you is the Goose Island Bourbon County brand barley wine ale.
This is like a big beer in the beer world.
Yeah.
Damn, why are you sharing this with us, Mark?
Well, because I like you guys.
Aw.
Craig, do we know something about this?
So, as I mentioned, this is from the 2015 edition that they did back then. It is considered a English-style barley wine. So that means it's got a little bit of horsepower in there.
So wait, is this a beer that we have to pop our finger for as we drink? Like pop it up in there?
No, but you don't. You want it to actually touch your tongue before you just throw it all the way back.
So who's going to
as opposed
shotgun the
kilo
bottle?
shot.
No one's going to shotgun the bottle. Why don't you pour some out here? We got 4 glasses. So just like every Friday when you listen to Crank Revolution, sit back, pop a cold one, and enjoy our show. Ooh, that sounded
came through
amazing.
nice.
That was really nice.
Ooh, and that's Greg's.
Look at that.
Very
Let's
nice color
see.
to it.
Ooh, yeah, that smells like barley wine.
Everyone hold it up to our listeners. Thanks for listening to our show. This one's for you. Everyone take a sip. Let's see what happens. Are we not drinking audibly because it's a podcast?
You have a straw.
You did do it
We
right.
gave
'cause
you a
gotta-
straw.
You got to get that ear
Get that full
air.
flavor
so
tasting.
for
Do you want a
podcast-
sippy cup next
First,
time?
everyone grab your favorite beer. Whiff off the top of the glass. Now,
That smells
swish
good.
it around in your mouth. Take some in your mouth, TC. Take
Yeah,
some
we
in
got to
your
do
mouth.
an actual tasting.
You get a little bit of that bourbon feel on the back end.
Yep.
I got some honey going on there.
That's a great
Honey,
swish.
I didn't get that
vanilla.
one.
But you know where the flavor comes out?
Flavor Country.
You are ruining this beer.
No, that's
I'm waiting for you to spit it out. I
I
feel
would
like
just
you're
say-
doing
No,
a wine
it's going to
tasting
end
and
up
then,
on
like,
me if that happens.
It's very nice.
Oh, so first of all, here's to you, Mark. Thanks for sharing with
sir.
us here in the
Thank you.
podcast studio. And also, thank you to all of us for the success we've had so far. Send us more comments to crankrevolutioncycling at Gmail. Today, though, we've got an amazing topic. We've talked about bike fitting. We've talked about a lot of different things.
about
but today,
Jeremy eating chamois butter.
I do sometimes eat chamois butter. I should stop that.
Why did you put it on the rim of your beer?
Well, because
It's not a margarita.
Some people like margaritas. I like chamois butter. Everything's lubricated. My voice works better. I could sit there and go, I am the very medal of a modern major general. I could try to like,
You know every animal, vegetable, and mineral.
see exactly.
God,
of
we're
you.
gonna have to
That's
listen to this all episode. Aren't
Whether
we?
you are
Whole bike trip.
whether you are a beginner rider or advanced rider, something we all share as you get into cycling, we've all hit it. You've gone on that ride, everything hurts the next day, and you're like, dear God, why do I do this to myself? Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of things we can help you with to not have those pains, but sometimes you have to deal with the pain because building up and doing that training takes time. So whether you're a beginner or advanced, we all feel pain. What can we do? What are some ways to deal with that post-ride, I want to die?
I go for a beer.
Okay.
You know what? Even though he's joking, that's one of the easier ways of getting your carbs in order to start recovery.
But also, during the last Summer Olympics, the German team was actually rehydrating and refueling after every event with a Dunkel beer. Low alcohol, but lots of really good vitamins and things in there.
Well, you
means
brought it
Blood,
up.
vitamins, carbs, calories, things that
Yeah.
do not exist.
Well,
in
so
water.
let's talk about
Right.
that. So we're all joking like, hey, go out and ride hard and drink beer. No, here's the thing, though. Carbs, proteins, all these things play a big deal in the recovery of how you're going to feel when you ride 72 hours or less later. So what are some of the things we need?
What do we need? I mean, we
In
need to, we
recovery.
need to breathe.
So let's
We need
pretend
to
you're a
sleep,
beginner.
We need to eat.
No,
we need
let's
to take in food.
Let's
we need
pretend
to
you're a
pay our
beginner.
taxes.
I did this. I was 285 pounds. I went around the block one time, and I was so proud of myself because it was a huge hill. My heart rate was
Hammer,
like
hammer,
150. I came in.
Ordered a large pizza and
No.
just sat in front of it.
I sat down and I went around the block, and I felt really accomplished. Now, I've lost a lot of weight since then, but there are things that can help with that recovery. Carbs is very important.
Carbs is important.
Protein is
Protein
important.
But within moderation.
Yes.
A lot of
Correct.
people will just binge afterwards because they feel that void. They're hungry. They just want to
Oh,
devour
don't overeat.
a
Yeah, that
plate
can
of,
undo you.
of buffalo wings. But really, it's the take a small little bite of whatever it is
Eat
you have
slowly.
nearby. Eat slowly. Drink lots of water.
That's the biggest key right there. Is
Well-
start drinking water. 'cause
Well,
you're
water,
dehydrated.
hydration,
Yeah.
number one. But then number two, though, there is this post-ride thing that's called a 4-to-1 ratio for recovery. Now, whether you're 300 pounds, whether you're 200 pounds, no matter how you ride, if you're getting those muscle aches and you have to rebuild those proteins in the muscle you broke down, they're saying a 4-to-1 ratio, which is a 4-to-1 ratio of what to what?
Carbs to proteins.
Carbs to protein. So what are some of the products, though, that you can buy in recovery out there on the market?
So my preferred one, just like from my second specific product, is Endurox.
Who makes that?
Endura.
Endurox.
Oh, well,
they've-
see
they've been
how
doing-
smart Jeremy is.
That's for me. That's a product that I've been using for about 12 years now. I started when I was running. Taking
Did you
that.
call it Endurox? Is it Endurox? Endurox feels kind of like you're playing with it.
Okay. Yeah, that product.
Okay, that right.
You can call it whatever you want.
Endurox.
It's like Mavic. How do you say Mavic? Is it Mavic or Mavic?
It depends on where you are. If
You
you're
want
in
to
Europe,
sound
it's
fancy
Mavic.
in
But also-
French? I smoke a cigarette, I ride the Tour de France, and I take Mavic.
Can we
To
just
my
stop
knowledge,
fighting and
to my
share
knowledge, the official company
information?
standpoint is yes.
The answer
As
is
in
yes.
it's Mavic, it's Mavic, it's whatever you want to call it.
So whether it's Endurox, what are some of the competitors, though, if you don't have Endurox at your bike shop or Dick's or wherever you're going to go? What's another product?
I'm a big fan of Hammer.
Hammer.
Their Recoverite is really good. It's tasty. The biggest thing I'm a fan of is that it is a vegetarian and a vegan product.
What? Okay.
You don't.
That's
there's
awesome, though. No, that's
there's-
great for everyone
There
who
is
wants to be
some.
that way.
There are some products you do have to watch if you are a vegan or a vegetarian. You do have to watch them. Most of them are going to be a whey product for their protein.
You know what won't
is
work
not
for vegans though? As much as you might
Animals?
spend, TC might spend like $60-$80 for a jar of Endurox or Endurox. You might buy for like $95 hammer or 60, whatever it is. You know what I love? You can go into any gas station, that 4-to-1 golden ratio, just like Archimedes that we send out on Voyager 1 into deep space.
Space.
What is it? Chocolate milk. Come on, have you had chocolate milk post-ride?
You know what? Of course, you have to have chocolate milk post ride because
It's almost perfect.
It's delicious and it's almost perfect. Absolutely.
You could bike ride at noon across any freaking like child's elementary school, and for 25 cents,
You could
buy
beat up
the
a kid.
Yeah, I was waiting for the beat up a child
You're
and
not
steal
going to
his
beat up a
chocolate
kid
milk.
for no, but you could buy a 25 cents, or at least it was when I was a kid, it was like 5 cents. But
Yeah, it's a
either
buck
way,
now.
you get. What?
buck now.
But chocolate milk is something you can do that's going to have kind of that golden carbon protein ratio to help you recover.
I said carbon protein. It's like,
Carbon
it's-
proteins.
That's what the Star Wars
Yeah.
people need to have after being on set.
So
Carbonite.
after a huge ride, if you're hurting, yes, Endurox, Hammer, all these other things that you have, they're great things. Chocolate milk, it's going to help put it back in your things. But what are some other things we can do for the pain? Greg.
Hold on. The best nutrition you can have afterwards in terms of a beverage.
Brought to you by Nestle Quick. No, never mind.
No, Scratch has a endurance mix that's chocolate flavored that is brilliant. And if you're a coffee fan, you could pour it into your post-ride coffee, and it blends so perfectly.
I
It's
blend
amazing.
vodka in my coffee.
Actually,
and
there
it's
is an
amazing.
argument that caffeine post ride and post most endurance events is beneficial to recovery as well.
Okay, out of the 4 people here, though, caffeine, half the cyclists I know are like, I don't ever touch caffeine. Half are huge caffeine heads. Where do we sit? Mark.
I am a caffeine addict. I
You?
hit the caffeine right after a ride.
Gerg?
I'm naturally really excited all the time. I've got so much energy all the time. Let's do a podcast.
Oh, yay! What about you?
I'm just espresso every morning.
So we're all like, I can't get by without at least a pot of coffee, but some people
So I
out there
don't?
won't touch caffeine, so we do get that.
I'm just naturally caffeinated, I guess.
Everything in life is caffeine. But what are some other things we can do for those pains and woes?
So I thought this one for a very long time because I just refused to accept it. But foam rolling actually really works.
It sounds like a Jane Summers like Thigh Master type video where you're
Wait.
1980s wearing the wristbands, the headbands,
have
and
you
your tight
never
little
used
spandex.
a foam roller on your IT bands?
I have what? First of all, what's
Oh
an
my
IT
God.
band?
Hold on, hold on.
there's
Hold on.
been
This
days.
sounds like an episode of Three's Company, basically.
First
with
of all,
Suzanne Summers.
Yes, I wear that outfit every time I get foam rolled.
I need to see this.
Second
now.
of
Oh,
all-
somebody does your foam rolling for you?
I've got connections,
My ding dang dong.
but I don't think he ever
He
has.
never has. The
I've never
tears-
foam rolled a
the
thing.
tears that will flow
Oh.
from his face.
I suffer and drink whiskey or scotch. It's how I do it.
There were
No.
days.
Are you saying there's a better way?
Oh no! What Chris and I?
I'm saying that you should use a foam roller on your IT bands.
I did 120 miles once. I came home. I cried a little. I shivered for a while, and then I drank a lot of scotch.
This
Is
will
that
make you
not good
cry
recovery?
3 days later.
This will make you cry 3 days later. And
Why do
then
I want to hurt more
it's,
in
it's one of those-
recovery?
it hurts so good.
It hurts
Yeah,
good though.
but why does it help?
There were
So-
honestly days where I would pay somebody to steal their foam roller.
There was always a dedicated foam roller in each room of the major bike brand that I worked at. So yeah, you could, while being on the
Are
phone.
we still past you can't mention that?
I think that's best.
Okay, we won't ever mention
Yeah,
it.
major bike brand,
Like Schwinn.
not like Schwinn.
he worked.
Like
Like Schwinn
Huffy.
from 1974. I can go with that.
Ooh, good
Brought
call.
to you by
Yeah.
Huffy
Mongoose.
That was a
Stalker,
big
the
year for
top
Schwinn.
bike of
Big year for Schwinn.
1996.
Paramount. Oh,
Brought to you by
fantastic.
Target Bike.
Anyway,
You're right,
go.
though. Let's be anonymous.
But so yeah, even like foam rolling straight, any kind of like post ride. I mean, I'm
Well, what's the point, though? It presses in your muscle. Explain what's
so
great
so
about
a
it.
foam roller puts more pressure directly like so your IT band, which connects effectively your hip to your knee
Okay.
on the on the outside.
outside of you.
Can I
outside
can
of
I
the leg.
interject really fast?
Yes, you can.
You are encouraging blood to flow to the infected area.
Well,
Not
infected.
infected.
I know that's a,
Affected. Affected area.
Too much
affected.
Resident Evil here.
No,
He's
we're-
going to run through town shooting zombies.
Yeah,
in the head.
I feel like Merc just like revealed a little thing about himself, and he's like, I wish I could take that back.
No. He did show up with a zombie response vehicle that has like jerry cans on the outside and no windshield wipers. So never mind.
And it was
So-
covered in red paint.
So
That
it
was blood.
increases
It's
blood flow
not
to the affected areas. It also promotes the relaxing of those joints, of those ligaments. And that's generally stretching in general does that. So it helps you to relax and helps you to recover.
So you're rolling sore muscles over the actual foam roller, which is a very hard thing. So you're doing that on the floor, sliding across, and that's got to hurt.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And you don't know this pain.
But it's adding blood. Yeah. I don't know any
Well, it's
of
not
this
adding blood. It's encouraging blood flow.
It's like if you ever had a
you're
shoulder
not-
massage
you don't have
that
a-
hurt, but you felt great at the same time.
No, because no one's strong enough.
But have we tried adding
My
blood?
shoulders are brought to you from Asgard.
But no, have we tried adding blood?
Easy there, Big Thor.
So you
Adding
have
blood?
you have your blood bag, you have your
No.
syringe,
No, I've
you're
never
adding.
done
Oh,
that.
we're diving
So now
back to the
we're cycling.
90s.
We're
No,
straight
blood's okay.
Lance Armstrong now.
Now that would help as well too. Fresh blood would.
So
would
if you
help.
get a foam roller, though, and you find yourself on a yoga mat on the floor and you start rolling those super sore parts over the body, are you going to find relief the next day?
Yes.
Yes.
Because you'll find that your muscles loosen up a little bit because of the extra blood. They're relaxed. You're going to be able to walk a lot easier.
Yeah.
And frankly, you'll just feel better.
So if you feel like crap the day after you do a cycling, that could be 2 miles, it could be 100 miles, it could be a race, a criterium, a gravel event, whatever it is, protein like a 4-to-1, whether it's a product from there or chocolate milk or whether it's a foam roller, is going to help you in recovery. Something I find that's amazing, CBD. I know that can be controversial, but Floyd's of Leadville or whatever it's called, they have a CBD product. Now, CBD is not psychotropic. You're not going to sit there and go, hey, I took some CBD and I had a great time freaking out in the forest. That's not how it works.
So why do you always freak out whenever we're in the forest
Well,
or
no,
near a forest?
THC is the
Even if it's a
chemical-
picture of a forest, you freak out.
THC is the chemical in cannabis that has the fun head effect. However, CBD, though, has a great inflammatory effect. To give you an idea, I blew my shoulder. I went OTB. What is OTB, Mark?
I have no idea.
Off-track
Over the-
handlebars.
Over the
Off-track
handlebars.
betting.
That's what I was
Off-track
going with. Off-track betting.
No.
over the
I
bars.
went over the bars and I totally blew a tendon in my shoulder. I haven't had a repair yet. And I was having like cortisone shots twice a year and I was cringing and frankly tearing at times from rotating my shoulder since I've been taking CBD oil, which is something you can find now that does not contain THC. I don't have that inflammatory response and I've had a lot of less pain from it.
Wait, that's a Dove product. I've seen the ads on the commercial.
Dove by Menon.
Bye. Menon.
Yes. So, other than Flintstone vitamins, anything else we guys want to promote? But CBD is something you can do too for anti-inflammation. There's a lot of recovery products. But what we're going to do now is we're going to jump into something completely
Let's
new.
go back to my favorite recovery.
Oh God.
So if you're
Disco
really
and
sore
ABBA.
if you're really sore from riding day one,
Yeah, like what if
day
you've
two,
been
just go ride some more. Start off nice and easy.
What if you're sore on day 3?
It's like the hair of the
Ride
dog.
some more.
And then day 4,
Just keep it going every
and
day.
day 5.
But
Every day.
so what about your output? How much should you expect to do then on that recovery spend?
And so it's once my expectation would be to let your body kind of tell you what you're going to do that day. That first 15 minutes is going to be your best kind of showing as to how are you actually going to feel after like in that recovery phase of riding. So for me, it's like bike tour was the most like obvious of this where, yeah, day 5 of riding 60 to 70 miles a day, sleeping outside, I was worn out. But
Yeah,
I'd get on
yeah.
the bike, take it nice and easy, start pedaling, not putting in really any effort, but just getting the body moving. And after 15 minutes,
Oh.
I felt fine.
You are 100% right, because on Tour de France and everything else, even their rest days start off with just a light spin to get that lactic acid out, get
Correct.
those muscles moving.
And
That's
again,
amazing.
it's going back to promoting blood flow.
Yep.
But
Once
that's
you get that
exactly
blood
right.
going right to the sore muscles, you are feeling golden.
But what Chris just shared isn't just for riding on bike tour every day. If you're doing 10 miles every day and you're feeling sore, that's fine. Keep doing that.
Spin it
Just
out.
spin it out. Go a little bit slower. You don't have to push so hard.
Nice warm up. Nice
Well, and your
and
body recovers in crazy ways. I'll just touch this briefly, but I was never in the shape of TC. And TC, by the time, I'm going to put in the show notes, the photo of his quad. Before I joined him, now at the time, I had just gone from 285 down to about 220. And going on that tour with them, day 1, I felt great. 2, great. 3, kind of great. 4, oh dear God, what have I gotten into? Day 5, I was laying in my hammock And I'm going, TC's
Till
been doing this
noon.
for over a month.
Till noon. I
But
was
I
up
was
at
in
6.
so much pain. Every muscle hurt. But something crazy happened around day 5. My body went, oh, I see.
This is what
You're
we're
not going to
doing
let
now."
us do this. We're just going to fix all your body. I woke up and all of a sudden the next day we're like averaging 18 with 50, 60 pounds of gear. Your body will adjust. Don't do something medically that hurts. And like if you're aggravating a blown knee, don't keep doing that. But if it's just muscle pain, spin it out, keep building it. You'll get there. We have a very special interview today. We have Jason from Momentum Power Foods. Welcome, Jason. Thanks for coming on our show.
Hi, not a problem. Glad to be on.
All right, so what we're going to do is you have such a cool personal story. On our show, we've had so many people that have kind of transformed their lives through cycling and all of these different fitness things. But where you sit today, you're currently a health coach, a personal trainer, also a sports nutrition specialist, and you've got a new product that you're going to talk about here. You're actually putting together your own sports drink.
Why did you start Momentum Power Food?
I have 2 companies. I have Momentum Fitness and Health and Momentum Power Foods. It started with my own personal health. Sometime in my late 20s, I developed some health issues. My blood pressure was completely out of whack. I was starting to gain weight. Never really reached 200 pounds, but I have a bit of a thinner frame. So, hitting 195 pounds was kind of crazy for me. And I started experiencing quite a few health problems. I was on like 2 or 3 medications already, one for blood pressure, one for something a little bit more personal. It was like, I'm 28 years old and I am taking medications, for somebody in their 60s or later. And I was, I was a smoker. I was a drinker. I was eating a lot of fast food.
Well, that's all of us. Well, not all of them, but...
And I just decided that, at the age of, 28, 29, that's not the path that I wanted to go down because it was only going to get worse from there. So I decided that I needed to fix it. I started exercising. I got into running, and it was originally, for weight loss and getting my health back and all that. And I saw some results from that. And then I started reading more about changing up my nutrition. And then I really got interested in the nutrition aspect of everything. And that's where I saw the best results.
Well, that's a hard one, though, isn't it, though? Because I think the American diet, if you get to be a nutritionist, when I walk into a grocery store, like 99% of it is not something I should put in my body.
Well, that's what most people don't understand. You don't shop the inner circle. You shop the outer circle.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was part of it, too. And even through that, I went through some of my own trials and tribulations, even with the nutrition piece. For a while, I was like on the whole low-fat thing. So I was getting, I can't believe it's not butter spray and this and that. Like I was losing the weight and I was looking better, but my blood pressure was still out of whack because basically I was using plastic instead of butter or this and that. So then I kind of went down the more holistic path, the more, eating more whole foods versus processed foods. And that's really what did it for me. Turned into training for 5Ks. Then the 5Ks turned into 10Ks, turned into half marathons, full marathons, and eventually
gotta love that progression of just getting more and more into it.
So it kind of spun out of control, but in a good way because it was certainly benefiting me. So I decided to become a personal trainer, and I would add in nutrition later. I eventually added the health coaching certification, which is through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and then the personal training in the fitness nutrition specialist is through the National Academy of Sports Medicine.
Those are all very fancy places. Like they have so many different certifications. So you really went deep into it.
It was at that point where it's like I realized that I could help other people.
So how does that work? You had your first gym. You got your first clients. Everyone was excited. Like when did you realize? Were they just bringing like maple syrup and Gatorade to their workouts, or what made you really realize
maple syrup
I need
not
to do
that
better?
I was going to say maple syrup is not a good.
That's Canada's number one drink in hockey. That's all they keep in the bottles. But like where did you see that and go, wow, that's another way to change is not only changing their behaviors and their fitness during the exercise, but how to supplement that. There must have been something you saw.
It was just everywhere. From the nutrition aspect of it, it just kept saying that, how much sugar was put in things. What people's perceptions are of how much sugar they're actually taking in. It's very misleading. It's like as I started getting into the nutrition myself and realizing I had been fooled because though I wasn't eating fat, I was eating a lot of salt and a lot of sugar.
Oh.
Not realizing how much sugar I really was consuming. And though, from a calorie standpoint, my body was fine, my blood pressure wasn't fine, my blood sugar wasn't fine. So there was that missing piece. And then as I researched into things more, the USDA says we should get no more than 10 teaspoons of added processed sugar per day. That's not a lot. That's a can of soda. Because there's about 4.5 grams in a teaspoon. But now the World Health Organization says it's more like 4.5 to 5. Again, of the added processed
I'm going to
sugar.
believe the World Health, considering the world seems to all have better health than us. So, yeah, maybe we should use that number.
Yep, absolutely. So, so when I started doing health fairs, I started going over different things. As a visual, I had all these different items on the table. I had, a bottle of Gatorade and a banana, a sweet potato, even a Cliff Bar, and this and that, and these 6 different items. And I had them mix and match these canisters of sugar to where they thought, how much sugar they thought each item had. And even some of your quote-unquote healthier products still had 6 teaspoons of added sugar in it.
Well, and that's the thing is, can you imagine dumping 6 teaspoons of sugar directly into your mouth right now?
There needs to be something better out there. I never was a big fan of things like Gatorade and Powerade and stuff like that, just because they would upset my stomach on a run. But then seeing how much sugar was in it and how much it was added sugar really just kind of made me realize that something else needs to be created if it's not already out there.
And so that led you then to creating Regain.
Yeah, I kind of just started experimenting with coconut water and tart cherry.
One day you're just in the kitchen with coconut water, like I'm gonna mix some stuff up. Like, did you have vials and beakers, or what happened here? Because you came to a product you shipped to us, so there must have been a cool story there.
At my first half Ironman, which was in Grand Rapids, I had a mixture. At that point in time, it was just coconut water and tart cherry. By then, I had gone to tart cherry juice because of the no extra added sugar.
Right.
So, and that was just it at the time. And I just kept, I kind of mixed it up and I was drinking it. And someone said, if you doctor this up just a little bit, I would buy this. I thought about it for a while, like 2 years. And just this past fall, I started playing with recipes. I started, I'm like, okay, well, what can I do to make it taste better? What can I do to make it a complete electrolyte profile? Because coconut water does need a pinch of salt to give it a complete electrolyte profile. So then I just started playing with recipes, and I started taste testing it with my own fitness studio and at a couple of health fairs, and just getting some feedback until I could tweak the recipe until I came out with the 2 flavors, the cherry limeade and the cherry lemonade.
Well, let me ask you this. So, for the people who don't know, because you obviously have this massive breadth of information on nutrition, for somebody who's taking up cycling, maybe they're just getting into sports to begin with, they're doing these high-intensity exercises, what are those electrolytes that you're really looking for to make sure you keep up in your body levels?
So the biggest things that you're looking for out of a hydration drink is potassium for 1, sodium for 2, but you're also looking for magnesium as well. And one of the cool features about these drinks that you have there is they contain 35 milligrams of magnesium, which you don't see in a lot of other sports drinks.
Oh, yeah, and that's the thing is you actually sent some out to us. Right now we just cracked open the cherry lemonade and the cherry limeade here to kind of get a flavor for it, because this tastes really good. I really do enjoy this.
Yeah, so if you're drinking the lemonade is a bit, I guess, smoother. I like to drink the lemonade sometimes just to drink it, or if I've had a low-intensity workout, or if I'm just kind of feeling under the weather or a little low, I like to drink the lemonade. The cherry limeade has a bit more pop to it and tastes a lot better like after a really intense workout. Basically, I kept it very simple. Each one only has 4 ingredients. One I added lime juice and a pinch of pink Himalayan salt, and the other one I added lemon juice. It was really just a matter of finding the right ratios. And then the other added advantage of the citrus juice is the fact that it acts as a natural preservative.
Well,
okay, yeah.
Because the thing I'm noticing here is, so I'm drinking right now the Regain cherry lemonade. I am not a huge lover of coconut water. I think it's one of those things that when you want to get serious about health, everyone talks about coconut water. You get the one with chunks, you get the one without chunks, you start drinking, and you drink it because you have to, because it's the healthy thing. But what's different about yours here, and even though it has that coconut water, however it is with the flavor, it's a very palate cleaning thing. If I take a huge swig of like Gatorade, for example, it kind of coats the tongue and you just have that really sugary taste. This is a very clean taste, and it doesn't remind me over strong of being just coconut water.
Which comes to my question: why would you prefer a natural product versus a Gatorade?
Yeah. So how is it different?
So the big thing is there's no chemical preservatives. Like when you get sodium citrate, citric acid.
I thought it was going to be Botox. My bad.
wrong kind of preservative.
So those are two preservatives that are commonly used in a lot of drinks. Even your Gatorade Organic, they use these two, and you'll notice that those two items are not labeled organic on the Gatorade, because for something to be organic, it only has to be 70% organic.
So it's got an asterisk after it, basically. Organic, read the fine print.
What they do is they create this genetically modified black mold, and they take the liquid off of it, and it has a citrusy taste to it. And that's your citric acid.
Oh, geez.
As opposed to getting citric acid from a lemon or a lime or other citrus.
Orange, yeah.
You know what it is?
Thing with
Someone's factory had a ton of black mold, and they're like, let's just make a drink. We don't want to clean this up.
This will work somehow.
I mean, I'm ready to place an order for a case because I just heard you don't make it with black mold.
Yeah,
like, that just
I'm
seems
with
like
you on
the
that
first
one.
step to health here. So sorry to interrupt, but that's amazing.
Yeah, so there's no chemical preservatives in it. Every ingredient is either organic and or non-GMO. And then there's no added colors, no dyes, because a lot of your colors are come from coal tar. It's another fun thing to have.
So black mold and coal tar.
Yeah, I'm just going to go lick a coal tunnel. Jeez.
So when you see like your Blue Lake 6 and some of your reds, now some of your reds are made from crushed beetles as well. But
I love that in my drink. That's my number one.
And then there's no added like chemical sweetener substitutes either. Like for me, I know stevia is natural and stuff like that, but for me, the aftertaste, I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't do it. It gives me a headache. So this is just, it is as it is. It's 4 simple ingredients. It's hot filled in that bottle for, to be preserved. We're still getting it shelf life tested, but it should be good for 6 to 12 months.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's more than enough time.
Yeah, really.
It's a no junk sports recovery drink is what it is. We don't add anything extra. It's 4 simple ingredients. That's what separates us. And we're willing to either have a shorter shelf life. We're also willing to not water our product down. Like you'll see Cocoa 5, you'll see Body Armor. The first ingredient is water, and then the coconut water concentrate. You're getting coconut water, tart cherry juice, lemon or lime juice, and that little bit of salt. And that's all you're getting in the bottle. But it will completely cover your needs for post exercise, especially with the addition of tart cherry.
I was going to say, I think what most people don't think about, though, is, these days you have peanut allergies, you have dye allergies, you have so many things that we're becoming sensitive to. But then when you think about it, we're less and less using foods. You're saying coal tar, black mold. And I know I read something about an artificial sweetener that a guy was trying to make a new rubber, and he accidentally got it on his hands and ate his food and went, oh, damn, this is like 10,000 times sweeter than sugar. But we're just licking and making chemicals instead of using natural products these days. Right. I wonder if that's all tied into some of these health issues.
I absolutely believe it does. I mean, when I went more towards natural products, more fruits, more vegetables, unprocessed foods, that is when I saw the biggest increase in my health and in my athletic performance as well.
So we're wondering, what athletes have you tested this with?
Are you just finding random people and giving them random chemicals? I think
like
is what
us.
he's asking. Drives up with a truck, kidnaps 14 people off the street. But yeah, who's it for? I mean, you've had a lot of success. I saw in your Indiegogo too. You're getting a lot of people saying positive things, that it looks like you had some football, MMA. You've kind of spread yourself all over the place.
Yeah, honestly, it's good for just about anybody, unless you have a coconut allergy, then obviously not. But there's really no age that it won't benefit. Starting with my 5-year-old. My 5-year-old drinks it in the morning. My wife's 93-year-old grandmother, who has low potassium levels, they were going to have her try it as well to see if that helps her. We got some local runners in my area that use it. One of them doesn't like coconut water, but he buys 3 bottles a week from me. So we're using it with a lot of local runners. If you look at some of the testimonials, I've done it with a couple of indoor football teams, the Illinois Carnage, Illinois Renegades. We taste tested with them, got some great feedback from them. They loved it. I was at a CrossFit event. This was happy accident. It was a CrossFit event, and this guy was tasting it. He was there supporting his girlfriend in the CrossFit event, and he just casually mentions that he fights MMA, and I'm like, okay, can you say that again and how much you love this, and can you do it on camera?
Oh, I thought it was going to be different. I fight MMA. You want to fight over liquids, bro? Like, I thought you were going to challenge him to a cage fight.
Yeah, so it was really kind of a happy accident that I was able to get that testimony out of them. So I was taste testing with the boxers. They all loved it. So they're dehydrating themselves like crazy just to make weight, and then right afterwards are either pounding Gatorade with all that sugar and chemicals, or they're pounding Pedialyte, which has some of the same stuff in it, but the big thing, the big draw for them is like, well, you want to keep drinking baby stuff, or do you want to drink this stuff?
Not for babies.
This stuff is going to be better for them, help them hydrate a lot better than Gatorade does too, because Gatorade, Powerade, Body Armor has more sugar in it. Like ours has no added sugar, but we come in at 1/3 less sugar than Gatorade and Powerade. Powerade still uses high fructose corn syrup. The sugars that we are using come naturally from the juices.
Okay, yeah. So that's the difference. You're not adding
juice, the lemon or lime juice. They all have natural sugars in them. We don't add anything to it, and that's what keeps us a bit lower.
That's awesome. So here's the real question, though, is, you sent the product in. I actually really enjoyed it. I could definitely see using this on a ride just because it keeps a clean palate. You don't feel overwhelmed. I can see this not being harsh on the stomach at all.
One of the things that sets us apart, too, is the tart cherry juice, and why there's reasons why we use it. It fights inflammation. It's an antioxidant, and it reduces oxidative stress. Now, there were studies done in 2010 in the Scandinavian Journal of Medicine. It was reported that those using tart cherry juice after a workout or strenuous activity find less muscle soreness and less muscle loss after a workout.
Ooh.
After they consume tart cherry afterwards.
Yeah, that's really cool research. So you've got a lot ahead of you. Once again, you can go to www.findingyourmomentum.com, learn more about Jason, and Regain is that new product that we've been talking about here today. So Jason, thanks for coming on our show. Really appreciate it, brother. We wish you the best of luck.
Yep. Thanks, Jason.
All
Good
right,
luck, man.
thank you.
All right, thank you. So now something to learn with TC and From the Mechanic's Mouth.
So today's tech tip is about flat fixes. So now we've all had flat fixes, and we, understand that they happen. But the big thing about fixing a flat, as opposed to just putting a new tube in, is identifying what caused the flat that you have. So if you're on the road, it's best to do if you have a hand pump. If you're using CO2, you can use it as well. But so as you remove the old tube and tire, keep everything lined up as to where it was in orientation on the rim. So have the valve where it was associated with the tire, have the tire associated with where it was on the rim. Because then you can put some air into the valve and then identify where that air is coming out of. Because let's say there's a small piece of glass that's embedded in the tire that, one, you don't want to run your hand through the inside because you can slice your fingers open and that's bad. Thankfully, I've never done it, but I've seen it happen. It's terrifying. What caused the original tube to go flat? So the best advice I can give is on the road, when you kind of are taking everything, when you got that flat tire, took it off your bike, take everything off and keep it oriented as to how it was positioned on the rim. So the valve, which goes through the valve hole in the rim, pull that out and keep that right next to it. As you pull the tire off, keep that aligned with, for most of us, it's the logo lined up with the valve helps a lot. So having those things all lined up and putting air into that old tube to find out what's causing that flat is so important. So as you kind of put air into that old flat, you can kind of look around. And so the tube itself has the outside and the inside in orientation as to the tire. So the most apparent one to see, and I have had a rider before who had a hole from a nail that was in his tire that as they reinflated it, it caused another flat because they did not pull the nail out of the tire. So putting air into the old tube, if you got a CO2, it's just a quick burst. We'll get you that, and then you can kind of guide your hand along. It's a lot better than putting your hand through the inside of the tire because that, if it is a piece of glass, can definitely shred your fingers. So most importantly, put some air into that old tube, keep everything in line, and figure out what caused the flatten to begin with.
I love how Doogie Howser that is. Basically, if you get a flat, maybe you should check to find out what it is before you put a brand new $7 product into your tire.
Yeah, but he said it right though. I have on multiple occasions run my hand through the tire and found that glass. And
You want to
And
know
then it's
how
in your finger.
And it's in your finger. Oh, well, my favorite one is if you do it in front of a customer back in the previous days, they look at you as, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
yeah.
Don't worry. It's okay.
Oh, that's how we do it, though. That's how we do it. And it was kind of like a
Why'd
thing,
you wipe
like-
the imaginary blood on me?
No, but they always love paying for the flat fix when you're like, and watch, there might be something hidden in your tire that causes a flat. And
It's
you're
a
like
bunny
ripping
rabbit.
it out like David Copperfield. You run your finger through and you're like, I'm severely bleeding. I found your problem. That's going to be $12.99.
And now my iPhone can't read my finger. Thanks.
What they don't know is a type 2 diabetic, I stab my fingers and bleed all the time.
That's the worst flex ever.
I know, right?
You also don't scab well, so it's not good.
No, so true. But that's the thing, though, guys. You have to realize if you're getting persistent flats, there's a reason. Flats can be accidental. They can be something that just happens to you, but it's something
Well,
you can actually look for.
Even if it just happens to you, there's a reason why it happened.
So figure out
to
that
you.
reason.
And so that's the thing. And then so that's always, as a mechanic, the first thing that I always ask someone is, hey, I got a flat. Okay, what happened? It's always my first question. And mostly I just get the JRA, which for those, it is just riding along. And so I was
that's
just riding
always
along
it.
and I got a flat. That in the bike industry, we call that JRA. We've just shortened it down because it's heard so many times. And it can be. I've seen flats that are legitimately just JRA because you pull it apart and it's actually the seam of the tube splitting. I've seen that before. And that's something that, there's nothing the rider could have done, nothing the mechanic could have done to know that seam is going to split at that point on that bike.
But something you could do to save yourself a couple dollars, instead of just putting on a new tube every time you get a small puncture, is just carry a patch kit with you.
Well, I
But
mean,
you still have to find out what caused the problem. So let's talk about what are the most common things.
Well,
So there
actually,
could be debris.
I want to go
ahead.
back to that
Go
patch
ahead.
kit one specifically. So I own a patch kit and I have patch tubes, but I will never patch a tube on the road. I will always put a new tube in, take the whole,
And patch it
take the
later.
old tube and patch it later because patching takes about 15 minutes to do it properly.
To be fair, for those
Which
of
means
you,
that Greg's never patched a tube
Properly.
properly.
Well, to be fair, let's paint a picture. Chris and TC here, both multiple
Same
personalities. They love
One voice.
watching Downton Abbey and just patching tubes
Actually,
at
that
the
show's
end of the
coming
month.
back, right?
Yeah,
Or
and
the
you just
movie.
I can just see you watching a period piece and slowly patching all of your tubes, like 20 at a time, out of a 5-gallon bucket.
Sitting
Actually,
next
I have an idea about tube patching for the bike shop.
Okay,
We can talk later, but yeah.
but
I'm
either
just
way-
imagining him watching it, and he's just patching tubes like grandma's knitting.
Yes,
sweaters.
exactly.
And
Slowly.
so
He's the young hot grandma, basically patching tubes.
I'll rebut it's
So
and like
confused.
I don't get too many flats, so I don't patch tubes all that often.
You don't weigh
More
anything.
commonly, it's I will be building wheels in this very like for me a meditative state, watching whatever and just building
Yeah, I
wheels.
agree with you on that one.
But what are the most common three things? So number one, yes, you can get debris like glass or something else that goes through your tube, and if you pop through and or if you look inside your tube and you just pop a new tube in, that glass is going to do the same thing. Second tube,
Yes.
third tube, fourth tube.
Yep.
What are some other common things that can cause those flats? We talked about one in a previous episode. If you're not checking your pressure before you
Tire
roll
pressure
out
too low.
every single time. Second you're low, you hit a bump, it's going to crush that tube between the tire and the rim, and it's going to get that Cobra Kai, the snake bite. He just did it again. He's like, ah! Yeah. But that's a number two, maybe most common, if it's not just riding along debris puncture. What is another third possibility?
And so third possibility typically comes to the rim and or rim strip.
What is a rim strip? That makes no sense. What's
So
a
the
strip?
rim strip is what coats the rim, covers the rim,
Why?
and protects the tube from the typically alloy of the rim and the alloy or brass spoke nipples.
So if you look inside a rim, then you're going to find either, if you pull that rim strip back,
If you
sometimes
pull-
they're
yeah, you gotta
rubber,
pull the-
sometimes they're plastic. You're going to notice
Well,
either
sometimes they're
there's
nylon,
nipples,
sometimes they're cloth. That's the most common.
but you might find actual brass nipples there that can
Yeah.
puncture your tube. Or there's going to be, sounds like a great metal band from the 80s, brass
There are
nipple.
4 people in this room. One person hasn't spoken because they're too busy laughing over the use of the word nipples. I just want to highlight that. Who's not
Why
talking?
can't you
to
handle
Henry?
nipples,
Is he
Mark?
struggling with alloy nipples or brass nipples?
I, think,
He has
I don't think
14
he
of
cares.
those
Just
brass
a nipple.
nipples.
What about DT Prolock hex nipples?
Oh, don't eat.
my
I
favorite
despise
nipples.
those things because
Why?
you have to pull the entire.
You don't have to know it. It's not technically an internal nipple. It's both.
But either way, that's the lesson for the day as TC brings it to you from the mechanic's mouth is if you get a flat, be Sherlock Holmes. Don't just sit there and throw new tubes in or you're throwing everything away.
Take your time.
And in saying this, I have once fixed a flat, quote unquote, where I actually ended up putting the old tube back in. Yeah. Yeah, I was about 20 years old at that point and felt like a total jackass.
Well, he still had the magic of being young. You could just touch a tube and it'd be like, I'm back to life, baby.
No,
That's
it
how
didn't work.
TC
The
is.
guy came back 2 hours later. I was like, hey, I got another flat.
Actually,
Yeah, I bet you did.
actually, we missed one detail. What happens if you get a cut on the tire itself, and it's exposing
How big of a
the
cut?
tube? Big enough.
Okay, so big enough.
So
typically
what could
means
you-
greater
what-
than a quarter inch.
It was
Why not?
huge, bigly.
So what could you plug that hole with?
Dollar bill.
That's usually what I use.
your food wrapper,
I'm very cheap.
Clip Shop Block wrapper.
A dollar bill works.
You could probably use Jeremy's chamois butter.
packet.
Packet.
Just-
intake packet.
Or,
Just ask for
or
his
if
garbage.
all else fails, grass.
Yep, grass works as well.
And now we're going to jump to Merck with Trials of Triumph and Woe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be confident about it, please.
Trying again. And now we cut to Merck, the purveyor of wonderful beers, as he brings us Trials of Triumph and Woe.
So let me bring you a story of a woe. This goes back to 1989 at the Tour de France. This fight was between Greg LeMond and Laurent Fignon. Fignon was 50 seconds ahead of Greg LeMond at the time. He was assured that he was going to take home the yellow jersey of the Tour de France for that year. Well, the final stage was a time trial, and Greg LeMond had other ideas about Fignon taking the final yellow jersey. He rolled up to the start gate on a brand new bike that was inspired by the triathletes at the time. It had aero bars. He even wore an aero helmet. He averaged almost 55 kilometers an hour, which is about 33 miles per hour at the time. Well, Fignon didn't take this advantage. He rolled in with the traditional funny bike at the time, which offered zero aerodynamic ability. So, at the end, Fignon lost the Tour de France by a mere 8 seconds. Some say that he lost this because he decided to stay traditional and not use any kind of aerodynamics. I agree. I will also include that ponytail that he had at the time dragged his butt back. So here's a tale of a century from the 1989 Tour de France of what not to do.
So every week we bring you another amazing race story. Why? Because whether you're a beginner cyclist or advanced, seeing what's capable of those pro races is amazing. So now, though, Greg has decided to test the abilities of the people here in the podcast studio. He's made a torture test for this weekend. Why did I say torture test? Because there was no warning. He's like, hey guys, in 2 days, do you want to go on a bike tour? We have lives, bro. We got lives, bro.
Why did I
Alright.
make time for this?
Wait, hold
Yeah.
on.
This is
torture
not a
test
bike tour.
It's 62
That is-
miles one way, and it's just over 1,000 feet of
Oh, and how are we
elevation.
getting back? How are we getting back?
Okay, so it's 120 miles.
Yeah, there you go, Greg.
Well, like I
120
said,
miles
62 miles one
over
way.
2,000 feet.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, our
actually,
Wednesday run-
that's 1,000 feet up and then
With-
1,000 feet back down, right?
With 3 days' notice.
Thank you for Greg for planning this overnight. I'm very excited. For
honestly, I'm excited about it.
You're welcome, fellow millennial. You're welcome, Merc. Jeremy, good luck, bastard. So, the idea is that we could do 62 miles where we're going to be able to just roll out
From where?
from where the shop is.
Yeah,
in
the
Hoffman
shop
Estates.
that's going to open soon, very
a
soon.
few weeks.
Yeah. We'll head out to West Dundee.
So
take
Hoffman
the
Estates to West Dundee
Yes.
to.
We don't need to tell them to turn by turn.
I gotta know.
but-
I gotta know.
But
Come on.
basically, it'll take us along a bunch of rails to trails paths
Awesome.
along the way. We probably are going to end up on some accidental gravel roads.
Yeah.
So-
accidental gravel, meaning they didn't finish the roads properly. But that's a road.
Or I
expect.
had no idea what it was. And I was like, oh, hey, look, we got gravel. This will be
He's like,
fun.
I got Google. Let's send some people on some roads.
But
I mean,
yeah,
we're riding 60 miles. It's not a long
Look,
distance.
So
Guys,
120
that is-
in 2 days.
guys, I just wanted to ride my bike, get a beer, go
You
to
just
a
want to
brewery.
camp with us.
Hold on.
That's
I
what
want
that is.
I want to ride my bike. I want to go to a brewery I haven't been before. Maybe have some barbecue. Enjoy some decent company. Merc, I'm looking forward to it. The rest of you.
Thanks.
And then,
Nobody ever says
ride back
Jeremy.
the next day after camping out all night.
So 2 days, 60 plus miles a day. We've got 1,000 feet or 2,000 feet each day.
It's flat.
Oh, it's flat. It's Illinois.
It's
just
northern
how
Illinois.
is.
It's flat.
But we're going to head down there. We're going to go to a campsite. We're going to sing you some songs by the campfire and talk about bikes.
You say we like all of us.
Like you
I
can't
don't-
sing?
I
Are you
don't
tone
sing.
deaf?
The worst part is
You can't pour some sugar on me with Def Leppard right now.
Oh God, don't.
No?
No.
You can't jump Disney? You know.
Children
Oh,
Disney.
I can do Disney.
Children exist. We don't
Greg
need to
can
sing
do
this.
Disney.
Can I say I don't sing? I do karaoke.
The thing I'm most worried about, though, is we know how Jeremy packs for anything.
Yup.
If we do
Too
karaoke
much?
in the middle of the woods, he's going to bring our entire studio
Yep.
with
Yep.
us.
You know you brought it
Whole
up.
studio, tables, 50-watt P. Yeah,
There'll be
amps.
laser
Whereas-
shows.
Yes.
I would really like to know how you're going to bring the Crank Revolution 50 some odd inch television with us, so that way we can keep track of our
Interns.
show notes.
We'll find an intern. Give him some turn by turn and give him some gear. It'll
we
be perfect.
have 3 days to interview and find an intern.
We have a sponsored rider we can abuse.
This is true.
That is true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey,
I don't know-
Mike. Congratulations on your riding professionally. Now we need you to drive a TV to the forest in the middle of Rock Cut State Park in Illinois.
No, can't we just abuse him without the trip? I mean,
What if we just put a trailer on the back of his bike?
but yeah, we'll be arguing over the best ways to sleep at night in the middle of the woods. I prefer inside of a grizzly bear that you freshly killed. But being
Well,
that we're in
it's
the
not
North
a
Woods,
tauntaun. How much do we trust Greg? I feel like he's got like booby traps and weird things
you
are
know-
happening. Is some goat person gonna jump out and go, "I'll let you pass if you answer these questions 3"? I think that would be Greg's thing. It's like gonna be some World of Warcraft meets like Game of Thrones.
I mean, at that point, I'm just
That
gonna
was a holy grail.
peel off into the woods instead of my having to go to sleep. So
Yeah, you could definitely do that.
You know what?
as Jeremy's dealing with this hallucination in front of him, the rest of us will just fall asleep. Jeremy's going to be
Pretty
talking,
much.
be yelling at a porta potty, and we're going to be like, "Jeremy, go to bed." No, I got to answer the riddles to get in the magic door.
So you guys definitely need to tune in though, because we're going to bring that to you next. We're going to have excerpts from our mini bike tour for the weekend as the shop is being built. Thoughts?
ride more bikes.
Oh God, I'm gonna die this weekend. It's my first one.
When on bike tour, carry a flask of whiskey.
And never trust Greg. See you guys next week. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Crank Revolution podcast. We have group rides in Illinois every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. Follow us on Facebook at Crank Revolution or search out Crank Revolution Group Rides on Facebook. Find us on YouTube at Crank Revolution Media. Make a difference in the bike outreach in your area. If you have questions that we can help you answer, reach out to us at crankrevolutioncycling@gmail.com. If for some crazy reason you want to support this amazing show, reach out to us on Patreon. See you next week.